Kia ora and welcome back to the channel. I'm Elvie and today we are finally doing another video. It has taken me definitely long enough. This one is, I've got swatching to do, as you can kind of see here. And today we are looking at another core mini set because I really miss my one. I have one of these already. It came with 6 half pans and I left it back in New Zealand. So when I was using my paints, I realized how much I actually miss using this set. This one, I got the, as I said, 12 half pan set. So I'm excited to try out these colors and see how I find this selection. Some of these do double over, and some of them are new to me. So it should be quite exciting to see how it goes. It doesn't come with the pigment information that I've seen, and I don't particularly mind like not knowing the pigment information, so I'm sure it'll be online somewhere, so you're more than welcome to look at it on there. For those unfamiliar with Core, you may have heard of them through their acrylic paint brand called Golden. That is what they are more well known for. Their acrylic is beautiful as well to use, but I do love their watercolor. So this is the tin. It is very small, as you can see. They kind of have an interesting design. You don't tend to get it, which is this weird kind of bubble well situation. There's a swatch card in here, which I forgot about, so I'll do that in my own time. Comes with a thin piece of tissue to keep them safe, which is nice. This kind of weird silicone situation, and they're all kind of tightly placed in there together, which is interesting. And then a brochure, which I'm sure also contains pigment information, but again, I don't particularly, oh, it doesn't, it just comes with names and swatches. Yeah, so with that kind of intro out of the way, we shall get into some swatching. It is kind of a tight situation here, but that's okay. Once I get into painting, it'll be a bit more open and you can see the palette as well, but off camera I'll swatch them for the moment. Now, for those new to Core, one thing they are really known for is how they dance, like they bloom on the paper. Oh, this is not clean. That's okay. Oh, that's not clean either. I don't particularly mind. I know it doesn't hold integrity to the color, but I really am unfazed. I kind of just want to see what the color looks like, and there's a little bit of blooming. You can kind of see how it bleeds into the water that I've placed. So this color is called, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but Bismuth Vanadate Yellow, which is very interesting. I haven't heard that color name before. It might be Familiar Pigments, I'm unsure. But it is a nice kind of cool yellow by the looks, which is lovely. Always important, especially in a basic set, to have a reliable cool yellow. Next is As a Yellow. So yes, this is our kind of warm yellow in the set. I kind of struggle with these colors because they've got like 2 different tones. Very obviously, it's kind of still a cool yellow, just with a kind of interesting color on top. Next is Transparent Pyro Orange. I don't know if I ever did say what the paper is. It's not 100% cotton or anything. It's just what I had lying around, but the painting, I'll be doing the painting. The paper I'll be doing the painting on is cotton, and it's itchier and it's reliable, and so it will help see the paints on that. For those curious, this one is Pyro Red Medium. Just a lovely kind of neutral, warm leaning red. I do love transparent. The orange also looks gorgeous. Next up we have Quinacridone Magenta. This one comes in a lot of their sets. I think it's just because look how beautiful that is. If you could put, sorry, I'm doing how I usually swatch, but for Quick Core, some people like to see how they bleed into each other. So I'll do that for the next one. Dark Sitting. dioxazine purple. I know everyone kind of calls it different things. So this is the water laid down, and then I'll grab the purple. I didn't grab much, they're very easy to re-wet, but as you see, it bleeds into the water really, really well. Which, you know, for people unfamiliar with this, they struggle to control, but sometimes it's better to not try to control it. Now, this next colour, I believe, it should be ultramarine, I believe. Yeah. Yes. I tripped myself up for a second. I thought I was lying to myself. So we've got ultramarine, which you can see, to try and dye, you can kind of see some texture forming, and that is just because ultramarine tends to granulate, which just leaves behind a beautiful texture. And I love granulating colours, so I am happy to see that. Got phthalo blue green shade, which is a beautiful cool blue, mixing very nice clean greens. Speaking of greens, we're going on to sap green. This one, not, oh yeah, look at that bleed. Kind of reminds me of green gold, or Aussie green gold, which you'd see in, I think, Daniel Smith line, but still looks like a nice colour. And we've got transparent brown oxide, very warm brown, red leaning, so that just means it leans more red. I don't know how to describe. And then we've got burnt umber. It says natural next to it. So it's a bit of bleeding, or a little blooming, sorry. And it is another beautiful warm kind of red leaning brown. This one's a little bit, no it is. I personally prefer umbers over siennas with this kind of transparent oxide, but it's honestly preference. Your browns and your colours, it's the same as anything. And the last colour is Payne's Grey, which is a very blue leaning grey people tend to have in palettes. It's not my favourite of the greys, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to enjoy the paint, and yeah, that is the swatching all done. Very quick. Only took me 8 minutes to do, but that means more time for painting, so let's move on to that. Now, I have completely changed up the setting. So this paper is Etches, and it is 100% cotton, deckled edges, kind of schmanchy fancy explanation of just paper. I quite like Etches because it is 100% cotton and it is lovely to use. It's, you know, preference paper at the end of the day. Everyone likes different things, different brands. This one is a square format, quite small square format, but that is because it came as a set of 4 different books from like autumn themed covered things, and yeah, finally cracking them open. I'm very excited to use them because of the beautiful paper, but also this has the green cover of the four sketchbooks, so it's very nice to just have a very fun looking sketchbook. It kind of makes the experience really nice when you're using it. The brush I'm using is a Winsor & Newton staple hair brush. It's one of the older ones. It's my favourite for painting birds, which you can see I am painting today. This is a New Zealand dotterel. It's a southern New Zealand dotterel, so it's the rarer of the species in New Zealand, and this one is considered critically endangered. They are really interesting birds, and you would find them Stewart Island, in Southland, in the New Zealand South Island. The image I'm using I just found on ebirds.org. It's by Glenda Reese, and yeah, I should be able to just link the photo I've used in the description. And yeah, the draw of the bird is, I love painting birds, especially ones from New Zealand, because of their unique traits, and a lot of them are at risk and stuff. So I really enjoy painting them and kind of bringing awareness to the strange assortment of birds. And yeah, this is my second attempt at doing something like this, but having just a book dedicated to New Zealand birds would be the dream for this. So that's 52 birds to paint, and I've done the 3. This is the 3rd one, so it'll be interesting. It might range, it might be less than that. I had an idea for one of the birds to actually do it over a double spread, because it kind of would suit that, but we shall see. By and strange. So yeah, we will see what actually ends up occurring. Doing a very faint grey, you might not even be able to see it really on camera. But yeah, I really love core watercolour, just because yeah, of that vibrancy and reliability with the quality and everything. It's just really lovely. Kind of deciding what I'm mixing right now, but have a grey that's not the paints. Quite like that, just for the beak. So I tend to do lots of layers with my paint, and I tend to just take my time with it and slowly build it up. I'm kind of in the middle, like I like to take my time and everything, but at the end of the day, I don't want to just spend hours and hours on one painting. So kind of in the middle of like how long I like to take on a painting, and it depends on the day and it depends on the topic, and so many factors go into how long I want to spend on a painting. So we will see how long it takes for me to do this, as well as some of this might not be on camera, some of it might be. It just depends on how I'm going for time and everything. But to me, this is the more interesting part, seeing it be used in a proper painting. So I'm just kind of slowly building up some more layers around their face, where it kind of is a darker colour. And then in the back as well is a bit more of a colour. Kind of fading that with a bit of dry brushing into the front of feathers, as you can kind of see. Maybe I'll bring that back for you. Debating where the camera goes now. And with core, you want to make sure your layers are dry, because this paint does bleed. It's very strong staining as well, so you can't lift it as well with a paper towel or something if you've made a mistake. So yeah, you want to be a bit more certain with your where you want your paint, and also being more aware that like when your layers are dry, or maybe using less water than you usually do, so that layers dry quicker and stuff like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, how you paint is up to you, and as long as you enjoy it and have fun, that's all that really matters. Now the eye, I do think it's still not quite dry, but it's okay. I'm just going again. I say things, I might say one thing and do another, okay? It's just how painting goes. I'm gonna do a very light layer in the eye and a little bit underneath. Kind of adding a bit more blue because I like my greys to lean ever so slightly blue, not as much as Payne's grey, but a little bit. And that's just down to preference. Here we go, there's the eye kind of coming together. Now the front chest is quite orange, so I'm going to add a bit of that pyrrole orange and a touch of the pyrrole red, not too much to overwhelm it. Just kind of dry brush it into the front of the chest a little bit. Sorry about the motorbike. And the slightly more orange leaning side, just over here, as this is kind of where the sun is hitting the bird in the image. Okay, now I'm just gonna let this dry for a little bit, so I will pause the video for me, but when you guys, it will just go straight onto the next section for you guys, so you won't even notice a thing. Okay, I am back and we are continuing to paint. Kind of just debating how dark I can make it. The light is slowly fading, so I'll try to finish this off before it completely goes dark. Because yeah, I want to finish this today for you guys. It's looking pretty okay. Very early stages at the moment, which is not quite what I want, but it's okay. And for the background colour, I'll probably just do a very light colour that I haven't featured much in the painting process, just to see how that looks. And now for the part where we kind of define the eye a little bit more with our grey. And maybe a little bit more blue in the mixture, as it is quite a brown leading grey at the moment, which is completely okay, but not what I want right now. Gonna add a little bit more detail near the beak, as there are little feathers kind of going out and about. Kind of a little bit of added texture. And then a little bit around here as well by the other side. And then we add slightly brown leaning, little bits of grey on the head, as there is kind of suggesting feathers, mixing in a little bit of that orange as well as we go up. And yeah, I guess I could tell you some fun facts about this bird while we are at it. So these birds are, as I said, critically they are under like nationally critical. So yeah, there aren't many breeding pairs of them left. I can't remember. I think 105 as an estimate was on the DOC website. So that's Department of Conservation for New Zealand. Sorry, I should be painting at the same time. So these guys nest quite high above sea level, and that's in Stewart Island in the mountain there. And so but when after nesting they come back down to sea level for food, and you can sometimes see them, as I said, on the Southland, New Zealand, where they sometimes are for food. And yeah, it's quite interesting that they can nest so high up. I don't know why that is. I've only done like very surface level research about these guys. But yeah, they are such beautiful birds as well. As I said, this is the southern dotterel, so these guys, there are other species of dotterel, still quite rare, but these guys yeah, are the worst off population wise. I think they have actually made like recovery since they were kind of first discovered and documented, but still not a lot of them. And then they're, yeah, I'm just kind of like looking online now for you guys, but I don't think there's anything too crazy about them. Oh, their other name, so Southern New Zealand dotterel is their English name. They also have a Māori name, and that is Pukenui. I had to like remember how to pronounce it in Māori, so I just wanted to double check that. So yeah, they're also known as Pukenui, and yeah, quite beautiful birds by the sounds. But a lot of the birds that I just found on the islands of New Zealand are on the nationally threatened or critically endangered list, just because the islands are very small, and that means the colonies can only get so big as well. So yeah, there's a lot of circumstance to their population as well. And then of course there are like predators, introduced ones such as wildcats, but you've got possums, stoats, and all sorts, which you know, disturb them when they're nesting, or like hunt their babies, sorry. And there's a lot of factors like that for a lot of the birds you may find in New Zealand as well. And yeah, it is a very big thing to look after our wildlife, and especially our birds. So we're getting close to being finished now, which is nice. I think I'll do the finishing touches off camera and show you it all when it's done. Okie dokie, so this is the bird. This is the dotterel in all her glory. You can, if it will focus, you can kind of see the details. I did a very faint blue in the background. And yeah, I have had a blast painting this. Paint, I adore it. I really love Core Watercolour. I think it's one of my favourite brands to use these days. Definitely in the top 3. Well, that's a big push, but I'd say at the moment it is one of my top 3. Watercolours, I love the bright colours, and you get some really beautiful mixes, and yeah, so I hope this was a fun video to watch, and yeah, maybe throughout the year I'll add do some more videos with you guys doing some bird paintings in this book. Yes, I'll show you the first couple. We have a diving petrel and a shore plower over here as well. They look a little bit funny, but I don't want to ruin the paper here. And yeah, so this is the third bird in the painting book. So yeah, I hope it was fun to do the painting with me, or just watch me paint, hear about the watercolors. I know I didn't talk too much about core, but you know, it's one of those things where it's, when you get to professional paint, it starts to be more about preference and the qualities that you want out of watercolor, rather than the actual paint itself. The paint itself, when you get to professional paint, they all work. They're all amazing. It's just whatever is accessible to you, what's affordable to you, and how you use watercolor at the end of the day. So yeah, I hope this was fun, interesting, and entertaining, and I will see you guys in the next video.